Another major NFL game was announced today. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will face off against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys in Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Man.
You think the Cowboys win their fourth straight Thanksgiving Day game?
I don't know if they will or not, but it'll be exciting because the last couple years on Thanksgiving is a snoozer when they played, right? It was one of those situations. The teams that they were playing weren't very good at this point in time. So even though they won 3 in a row, they had the Giants, the Commanders, and the Giants. So now they finally get a real opponent in Kansas City. So it'll be one of those games where you're not necessarily starting your dinner at that point in time or eating, so to speak, because you're going to be watching the game. The last couple of years, you kind of, you already to start cooking. You probably eat, not even paying attention.
You cook on Thanksgiving?
I do some stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
All right, no, Paul cooks.
Oh, 100%. What you think, I'm going to go buy stuff from the store?
I don't cook on Thanksgiving.
He could throw something down.
No, I'll put it in. I get
I bring the wine and the vibes. I know. I can't.
Stop!
I can't. It's so hard.
No, you have to focus. But anyway, Joy. Yeah, so it'll be fun to be able to.
I help clean on Thanksgiving.
It'll be fun to be able to watch a real game. I'm excited about it, though. I really am. To see Dak Prescott up against Patrick Mahomes. Maybe, just maybe, and don't reach over here with your left hand and smack me down. Maybe this is a preview of.
What's he about to say?
I don't know.
Maybe this is a preview of the Super Bowl. Maybe it's a preview. Could be. NFC versus AFC. Cowboys versus Kansas City. You never know.
Who forgot to give P his medicine today?
Yeah, it could be.
Did you say Super Bowl?
I said a preview maybe of the Super Bowl matchup. It's late in the year.
Back on the Cowboys payroll.
Damn well Cowboys ain't going to no Super Bowl.
I didn't say they were. I said maybe.
They got to make it to the playoffs. They not even considered a contender.
We about to do a topic if they're going to make the playoffs.
Like, damn.
That's why I hate talking. Because y'all will say anything and twist my...
You got a big, giant speak behind you. You do not hate
y'all will
talking.
twist my words, and then the people on social media ain't got no life.
You said maybe it's a preview of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I said maybe. I didn't say they were going to the Super Bowl, maybe.
They got to get a preview to the playoffs. I'm not even sure if they're going to get there.
I hope they make it to the Super Bowl.
With the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is back from his season-ending hamstring injury and has a new target to throw to.
What?
All right.
We need, like, a separate feed for, like, just in studio. And we'll do a paywall. Keith, the Cowboys have enough to return to the playoffs this season. Obviously, I think you think they do.
I do honestly think they do. One of the main things that they needed was to shore up the offensive line. They did that part. Can they shore up the running game? Just enough. Enough of a running. Can they average 4.1 yards from that backfield for Dak Prescott in the offense? They certainly went out with George Pickens, and you heard Dak Prescott talking about it right there. Here's a guy played in 14 games a year ago, 59 catches, had 103 targets, 900 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His counterpart had 152 targets and 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. If he plays his 17 games with Dak Prescott, those numbers are going to increase significantly. And so will CeeDee Lamb's numbers increase significantly. The one thing that they were missing was help. And they got that help. We've been talking about if they should have drafted a receiver, who were they going to bring in free agency? They made the trade. And I think that's enough because it puts points on the board. Whether their defense is solid and sound or not, they can put some points on the board offensively and win a whole lot of games and find themselves knocking on the door or in the playoffs.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say the defense improves slightly from what it was last year, at least from a run defense perspective. Because last year they were 31st in scoring defense, 29th in rushing defense, allowed the most rushing touchdowns, and allowed the 3rd most rushing yards per attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they improve slightly from that.
Yeah.
Given that grace. Do you see the Cowboys as the type of team that has to score, like they are an offensive team?
Yeah, I do.
Like the only way they're winning, they're not stopping anybody.
If the offense,
everyone.
I mean, if the defense just gives them a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
the offense has picked up some players that can give them even more. You can score points. That offense can score points in this league. Schottenheimer, I'm assuming he's going to call the plays. I know he's the head coach, but I'm assuming he's going to probably call the plays because a lot of guys like Schottenheimer wants to prove to people that he can call plays and be the head coach in his first his first head coaching job. So I do, though. I know we like to poke a lot of fun at the Cowboys and laugh at them because of the history over the last 30 years and what they've been over the last several years and all of those sort of stuff. But I honestly think by getting George Pickens is going to help significantly this offense. It reminds me a lot of when they went out and acquired Amari Cooper. All of a sudden, the offense took another level, took another step to another level.
I'm just trying to see where I can place them in the playoffs, Key. Because I'm looking at the division, the NFC, right?
Yeah.
So in the East, you got Philly.
Yep.
The North, Detroit.
So you're calling them winners?
These are the division winners.
Yeah.
Yep. South, probably Tampa Bay. The West, either Rams or Niners.
Okay.
So let's say the 4 division winners because they're not going to win the division.
Okay.
After that, those are the locks. Would you say the Commanders are in?
It certainly feels that they would be in
That's
one of those
5.
spots.
I would think the Packers,
I don't know.
youngest team in the league, they're going to get better. They're going to get better.
I just don't know. I'm just saying. I just don't know.
The Packers is in.
They hadn't won the division. They're
But
scrapping and crawling.
they right there, though. They right there. And then after that, this is who they got to compete with. The Niners or Rams, barring who wins the division. The Vikings, who won 14 games last year.
No quarterback.
They got J.J. McCarthy.
I'm going to take the Vikings out.
No quarterback.
Okay, all right. Then you got the Seahawks. They won 10 games, and I know
They got a new quarterback.
I don't know.
They ain't got DK Metcalf no more. I know they picked up Cooper Kupp, but no.
Okay.
But they're still all going to be competing for that 7th spot, I feel. And then you got the Cowboys in there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 5 or 6 teams fighting for 3 spots. 5 or 6 teams fighting for 3 spots, and they're gonna be in that 5 or 6 teams fighting for those 3 spots. The Cowboys are. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well,
the reality of that they're going to be fighting.
Outside of the competition that is in the NFC, which you have the Lions, you have the Eagles, you have the Bucks, you have the Rams, you have the Niners. I think Atlanta will be better. You have the Seahawks, who I think will be competitive. Yeah. You have the Bears, who I think will be better. You have Dallas, obviously, who I think will be in that conversation. You've got the Packers. You've got the Commanders. I'm saying a lot of teams. Now, if we're just going chalk right now.
Those teams, though, Joy, that you're mentioning had off-season moves. The Detroit Lions lost a bunch of people on that stuff. But it matters.
I'm with you.
I understand they got Dan Campbell, but when you losing coordinators and position coaches, that matters.
I agree. I think it does as well. Okay. But there's just a lot of teams competing for that wild card spot.
Yes.
I think they'll be right there. I'm not saying they're not going to. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs.
Get in.
But this is my thing. What the bleep are we talking about? You fired Mike McCarthy. So what? You could make it to the playoffs?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they want to get to the playoffs. They ain't been to the playoffs.
And then do what?
You got to get in the tournament first.
That's a ridiculous standard to have for the Dallas Cowboys.
You got to get into the tournament.
You're paying 3, because when they pay Micah, they'll have 3 of the top paid players for their position in the league.
You have to start
with
somewhere,
Dak,
though, Joy.
CD, and Micah. And we're having a topic about maybe they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Here's the other part, though. Because we keep talking about Dak making the playoffs, like when he's healthy, he makes the playoffs.
Well, he missed a couple times, but yeah.
Right, but like for the most part. But we're leaving out the competition within the division has changed. In 2016, it was Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, Eli Manning. 2018, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, Alex Smith, Josh Johnson, Colt McCoy, Mark Sanchez, and Eli Manning in 2018. These were the quarterbacks in the division that they were playing against.
Who did Mark play for? Oh, Eagles.
Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew, Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Garrett Gilbert.
I don't know Garrett.
Okay. Daniel Jones, Jake Fromm, Mike Glennon. Remember that era? 2021?
Yeah, them quarterbacks is bad, though.
That's my point. This year, this is a little different. So there's a little different energy walking around the NFC East this year. This is a very competitive division. I'm saying that they were counting for years that that the Giants and Washington were not even going to be sniffing around the conversation. that maybe they'll go back and forth with the Eagles. And now the Eagles are the Super Bowl champs. Jaden Daniels has arrived. And whatever we think of Russell Wilson, he's going to be better for the Giants than what they had last year. So this isn't just like a walk around.
DeVito and
they had DeVito, Daniel Jones, and Tyrod Taylor.
No, not TT. TT was at the Jets. Right?
Well, that's what the notes that they gave me.
No, TT was at the Jets.
Anyway, the point is that they had DeVito and they had Daniel Jones. So it's going to be better than that. So when we're talking about what the Cowboys are going to do last year, again, they've got to fix the defense. I understand that George Pickens is a huge addition, but unless they're just planning on scoring more points than every team that they play against, which is a tactic that works only until your offense has a bad day, and then you get smoked. And this is just this is not the same division that they've been working in before.
I understand, but they aren't listening to what you're saying. They think that they are in the same position.
To be clear, the Cowboys shouldn't listen to anything I'm saying. I'm just giving my opinion to you. The Cowboys should absolutely go into this season believing that they have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. They should actually listen to you from the beginning of this.
I didn't say they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Keyshawn Johnson said it guarantees that the Dallas Cowboys will be in the Super Bowl this year.
Don't do it.
We got to send that clip.
They start off the season
Please send that clip to Michael Irvin.
They start with Philly on opening night.
1.
Yeah, game 1.
So 0-1.
Let's get Key some old gear of his from Dallas.
I need to get that schedule.
They don't want me.
Let's get him a big helmet.
I can't help him.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.